Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Welcome back to World of Tanks. On this episode, we have HOTA CHATON. HOTA CHATON, I don't know if I'm saying that right. But anyway, he's in a Tier 8 Skorpian G. Bottom tier in a Tier 2 tier battle. And here on Proc, which is a great TD map. A great TD map. And he's gone over here to the, let's get this mini map a little bigger, over to the west side. Sitting on the 1-2 line, and he's trying to look for some shots here. And he asked, hey, how do I do better in the Skorpian G? That's a good question. It's a good question. It's an interesting tank. It's a good one. Definitely a good tank. It has its weaknesses. Things like being very soft, very vulnerable to artillery, really anything, to be quite honest. The gun can be a little bit intransigent, I guess you might say. Difficult to use. Let's talk about some of the things he could have done here, because it's an interesting question. We are here on Proc. He's asked, how can I do better in the Skorpian G? And we're going to talk mostly about positioning and decision making, because frankly the tank is very good. Now you can't go running up the hill and crest the hill over on the 0 line and expect to bounce things off your turret. That's probably not something that the Skorpian G is going to do. So I think positioning wise it's not a bad spot to start with. He really can't go to the 5-6 line, especially not early on. There's no artillery, so that's helpful, but really anything that can poke over is going to pop right through his turret and just strip hit points away from him. So he has to be careful there. So he's gone to a pretty good position, but he's pretty far back, and that's okay. The ELC even 90 is up forward. And I'll just say one thing about the positioning here, HOTA, is it's okay, but it's actually better to be a little further out here in the flat. And if you're going to be this far back, sometimes I think being up a little higher back here, you're not going to get spotted anyway this far back. It will give you some more options to shoot down. See how the pattern's up high right there? I think he's a little too close. Back in here is probably a better spot. Maybe this ridge where you can dive down behind it. And if something does show up in the flats over here, from where you are, this road kind of blocks them. So if they're down lower, you have a hard time shooting them. You're going to see some of that a little while later. That's just a small positioning thing. Putting yourself in a good spot where you can't be spotted. One thing you can do from here is shoot along the ridgeline, but you can also do that over on the right a little higher. The other thing you have to watch out for on this map with TDs, when you're looking in two different directions, you're kind of looking this direction over towards about, what is it, F5 and 6, because you see guys getting lit. You're also expecting the main line of effort for you guys to be the 1-2 line, and you're really hoping that even 90 starts lighting guys. You did a decent job taking down some scouts right off the bat. That was a good kill. And then we get the Conqueror coming here. And that's a pretty standard, just an early shot, right? You really should have gone for his lower plate, aim down a little lower. You just kind of snap one off and it ends up bouncing. It's going to cost your team a little bit. It's going to cost your team a little bit in hit points. They are firing back. And it takes a while for you guys to take him down, but that's fine. And now we've got a low, a little higher there. I mentioned that on the mini-map because there's something to start thinking about, and there you go. In between reloads, if I'm on a map like this and I've got a target-rich environment, and I know I've got a 9-10 second reload on a gun, after I shoot, I'm going to zoom out. I'm not going to sit there and continue. Even if I'm going to shoot that guy again, I'll just zoom out and go, all right, there's a low and a Malshin. I might even say, can I see the Malshin? Try to light him. No. Can I see the... I might even zoom in on low and go, okay, I can see him. He's the next target. All right, back to the whatever that thing was. Conqueror, boom, right out, right back in. All right, there's the low. I'm going to reload. Right, yeah, I got a shot on him. Oh, what's going on over here? See if you can get a shot on it. No, I can't get a shot on the Malshin. Right back here, and about that time you're reloaded, zoom in, boom, and there's a shot on the low. And that is something I try to do every time, especially on a long reload tank like this. You have time to look around. Gain SA, that probably went in the ground. Another thing I'll say on something like this, when you're zoomed in on a tank like that and he looks like he's being holed down, try to find out where the ground is. It's about right there. Right? So you don't have a whole lot of opportunity to get low. If you aim right above it, you have a good chance of hitting the ground. So you might want to aim just a little bit up. And you may be auto-aimed here. No, you're not. That just happened to be in the middle. Looks like you're looking around at him. He gives you some nice side, and you do a nice job just putting it right in his side. So that's exactly right. He gave you way too much angle. He's probably trying to angle to someone else, or maybe got tracked and turned at a higher angle than he wanted to be. And down he goes, and then zoom out and look around. There's actually a guy over there. Look at that, the Centurion. Is he able to be highlighted? I don't know. You're not looking at him. So we kind of gone, like, oh, okay, there we go. You don't have to wait for your gun to get there. Zoom in, the gun will follow. Just zoom in and start searching around. Just grab it and go, all right, where is that guy? Just keep searching around until you find him. Oh, there we go. And that was nicely done. You saw him right away. He's actually got a buddy there. I think you ended up, you probably hit the prototype because he was actually in front of that guy. So they lit him up. You know he's there. I liked this right here. It's exactly what I would have done. One more shot for relatively slow tanks. They're probably backing straight away. Who knows? You may have gone in right there. So that was nicely done. I wouldn't waste another one, but certainly that one was fine. Now let's watch in here in this series. It gets kind of interesting because we're really enamored of this Centurion. So we get a shot on him. That's good. But we also know there's a T-28 and T-30 on the 1-2 line, and that's kind of my main line of effort. You'd really like to clear that out. We just stop for a minute before we shoot at this guy. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the tanks lit. And that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 of them unlit. So there's 3 tanks somewhere. I would expect at least 2 of them. At least 2 of them to be on the 1-2 line somewhere. But let's find out if we get more SA. Down goes the prototype. Oh, guess what? All that time you were futzing around with the mouse and kind of looking at these guys and trying to take hard shots, you actually had some really good shots. These dudes are lit up, man. Somebody just killed the prototype, and there's the T-30. So let's see what we're gonna mess around. The T-30's lit. He's still lit. Oh man, can I snipe a little? Can I snipe a pixel of a turret? Man, sure hope I can snipe a pixel of a turret. Look at the T-30, man. He's still lit up down there. Now it may have been a case if you noticed it and said, well, I think my buddies will take care of it. Noted, but that you would really like to clear that 1-2 line off. That's your main line. Once you clear that off, you have options to move to the middle or to the other side. Right now you have no options because nobody can go trundling down that 1-2 line right now with a T-30 sitting there. And then you lose your 5-6 guy, and now you're really in trouble getting stuffed into the back corner of the map. Looks like the Skorpian G's down there, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their tanks. That's still 2 unaccounted for. Looks like the Udes and one of the Skorpions have not shown up yet. So we're going to move a little bit. And really, I probably would have been this close to begin with. Not too much more. Unfortunately, I don't know how the ELC died. He did something dopey and got himself killed. That is a huge disadvantage. You'd have a really good advantage if the ELC even 90 had managed to keep himself alive in this game. Because now you're really on your back foot. You're kind of relying on them going through. Now look what just got lit up and where he is. The IS-3 has actually come across and he's down in the flat down there. And we're just not looking, right? There he goes. Look at that. And do we have a light on? I bet we did earlier. See if I can zoom out enough to where I can get that going on. There we go. We did when he was higher up on the hill coming down the ramp, and maybe even a shot on the 7-1. But it looks like he's got in down below by now, but if you just started moving immediately. Also, something to think about when you turn a slow turreted TD like this. Instead of just turning your turret, go ahead and turn your hull as well. If you're worried about breaking your camo, that's good, but you're so camoed up right here with the bushes, you're probably not really in that situation, and you'd get your gun over there much faster. So you'll find me, when I have a turreted TD or even just a regular tank, medium, heavy, doesn't matter, in a situation like this, I'll be shifting the hull and the turret at the same time just to get my gun online faster so I can get zoomed in and get a shot off faster. And the IS-3 got by, really snuck by. That hurt us quite a bit. So he's down in there somewhere in those trees. Your Skorpian G and TS5 have moved over there. You've got a Defender, ISU, and ISM on the other side of the map, but they're in trouble because they're really stuffed into corners. That ISM's probably in a bush, and as soon as he gets lit up, he's going to disintegrate. He just doesn't have any cover there. In fact, he's south of the road, which is really the only cover he could have got. He might have been better just to make a break for the river bottom, but even then I don't think that's going to work. And there's the IS-3. And once again, a guy appears, and there's not a lot of initial, look at that, how long it takes you. And we still don't see him. So he's over there, man. He's been there for a while. He's come up and over. Finally we see him, and we slowly turn the barrel over there, and he's gone. So just a little bit slow to react to some of the things that are popping up on the minimap. I think you probably missed at least one shot on the IS-3 that you could have taken. Not missed as in took the shot and missed the shot, but as in missed the opportunity to take the shot. We get a bounce that's unlucky, and he actually ends up living down there, the IS-3, and down goes your ISM. And slowly but surely, we're starting to just lose any kind of initiative or position that we had. We're split down the middle. There's an IS-3 right there. And still that T-30 is a big problem. Centurion is over there. If we count noses, there's the other Skorpian G. He's on the other side of the tracks, it looks like. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of their tanks accounted for. And that's all of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 7 of their tanks. We know where they are. The T-30, that's an old light, so God knows where he's gone, but probably not too far. There's the IS-3 messing around. We're looking for a shot on him. There we go. Oh, unlucky. Unlucky. He's still alive. And they've cleaned up that entire side. So now we're stuffed in a corner, and we don't have a lot of good options. It would be nice if we could find that T-30 and make that guy go away. 257 probably should have pushed into him and seen if he couldn't use his hit points to try to find that guy. So between you and the 257, take down the T-30. That would have freed up a little bit of maneuver, at least north-south on this line. But right now, you don't have any real good options to move south. You certainly can't go into the open. So now we're in a bit of a waiting game. And here comes the Malshin. It takes a while for us to notice him as well. We don't actually have a shot. And then we kind of bail out of here and say, all right, I'm just going to accept the fact that I don't have a shot. And this was an interesting decision for me. You're going to back out, and you keep going backwards, and then we turn left. All right, so that's the T-30, right? The T-30 was the only guy we were aware of over here. And when we count noses, that's all of them. There is nobody now on the 1-2 line. I'd have gone towards the 257 and got into these bushes, and then got them in some kind of crossfire right here. So if they did come up in the middle, they were getting hit from two sides. What we choose to do is we're going to go all the way back to where they know the TDs always hang out, and we're going to hang out right next to the TS5 and the Skorpian G. So once I noticed the T-30 was no longer on the 1-2 line, I'd have run all the way down south about as far as I could get. That would put them in a bit of a crossfire. As a matter of fact, if you got far enough down here, you could have come up on the road and maybe shot them as they're messing around on this ridge. Potentially even cross over into this open area. Would have been short-lived surprise, but could have got up here and put shots behind them. Of course, you'd have to worry about these guys. Eventually, they'd figure out you were there. But it would have been probably, in my book, better than just going into a corner right here. I don't know really what the TS5 is doing. He's not watching. He needs to be watching towards the east, because clearly someone's going to be coming up from that way pretty soon. They know you're all stuffed in a corner. The T-30 and the Malshin have pushed up underneath your guns. So you're really just waiting for them to crest. We're going to come up here. I want to come up on the high part of this. Not really the best spot. And we're looking for a shot. There we go. Put a shot on him, and we eat a shot from the Malshin. Yeah, you had to know you were probably going to get lit right there. Looking for a shot on him, but it's the... Oh, yeah, I got another one, just not really ready to fire. And I don't know if you're trying to auto-aim there or what was going on, but this last sequence is just a bit of a struggle for you, I think, to try to get the gun online with these guys. The turret does kind of lag behind your control inputs on the Skorpian G. It's just so slow. You get that really kind of lazy turret thing going on, boom, the T-30 takes you down. So there's just some things to think about. Nice damage, man. You got 3,780. We ended up with only one kill. But maybe just a little less dynamic. One of the strengths of this tank is its mobility. And for a long time in this game, you weren't able really to use it. But there was a point towards the end where maybe a little extra mobility. And I don't think it would have helped you win necessarily based on what the rest of your team was doing. But you may have even got another couple shots out of the deal if you'd have moved down to the south, shot them while they're lit and you're not lit, and then run off. Now, they'd have known what direction the shot came from and charge you. But look at this. The 257's still alive, right? So imagine you'd be down there with him as those guys pop up and start messing with your two TDs who are clearly very happy to sit in the corner of the map the entire game. A couple shots into their back, and then you and he blaze off and go look for another opportunity elsewhere. All right, guys, that's all I've got. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, thanks for supporting the channel, and we will see you.